Hello, it's Dave Bradley-Jones from PlayoutONE, welcoming you to video number 6 in our Getting Started video tutorial series. Today, we're going to look at WebVT for users. How do we use it? How do we log in? How do we use LiveMIC? All these questions, they're all going to be answered by the time we've finished here today. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do consider it. That way, when we produce some new videos, you will be one of the first people to see them. All you have to do is go to youtube.com/playoutone and hit that subscribe button. If you're also not a member of our Facebook page and you are on Facebook, then maybe you consider doing that as well. Facebook.com/playoutone. So what is WebVT? Well, WebVT is our remote voice tracking system, all done through a web browser. You can use a PC, you can use a Mac, you can use a Linux device, and within that, you'll use either the Firefox or the Google Chrome browser. Now, depending on which browser you use will depend on how easy it is to select your audio device. We'll come on to that in a couple of minutes' time, but just hold that there for 1 second, because if you are using Chrome, then there are some extra settings you have to do to make sure you're using your right microphone. What you don't want to do is find you've recorded all your links and actually they sound like this. You're like over here. It's like, hello, this is Dave on play. Yeah, we've all heard those before. So we'll talk and run through that in just a second. Now we're going to start by talking you through how you log into WebVT. You'll have been given a username and password by your station, and depending on whether they have a trusted SSL certificate will depend on the screen that you come across. So if you have essentially a web address like I have here, https://dbj.webvt.net, you'll be presented with the login screen just like this. If, however, you're given a bunch of numbers, also known as the IP address, then you may see something like this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Security risk ahead. The browser is rightly telling you that the security certificate isn't really a trusted security certificate, so you shouldn't move on. However, we know it's okay because we're accessing WebVT. So what you have to do is hit advanced, and then depending on which browser you're in, you can accept the risk and continue, or in Chrome, I think it's a proceed. So that's how it works. We're going to go back to our classic hits, dbj.webvt.net, and we're going to log in with our username. So mine is Dave. Password is also Dave. Very secure. Do not do that. Make sure you've got a secure password, please. Now, when you're logged in, there's a couple of different options here now that you can see depending on what you've been given. So let me just make this wider. There we are. We're going to go through each segment in just a second, but I want to just give you a brief overview. So you'll see the log when you log in. So this is the log, and we can click the different places in the log. So let's go look at 5 p.m., for example, by clicking the 5 p.m. button here. And we can have a little scroll down this log, see what we're playing in the 5 o'clock hour. If we've got permission to edit this log, we can move things around if we want to by just simply dragging like so. Hey, simple, yeah? Dragging like so. Now, we can also do other functions in the log. We can right click and we can choose delete to permanently get rid of it from the log. It's gone. Or we could choose soft delete if we want to bring it back at a later stage. So that's always quite useful. You've got the airtime in the log. You've got the UID. You've got the current item. You've got the intro, the length, the category, the year, whether the item fades or not, whether the items are split, whether the item's an oversweep, whether the item has a note on it, the chain here, so we can change the chain just by double clicking on it. If you've not seen what chains are, then you can visit our video number, what video was it? It was number 4. Absolutely. Video number 4 for the chains. And then finally, we've got the I column here. This is what we call the imported column. So when you record a voice track, a little tick will appear here once it's been received back at the radio station. Finally, at the end, a little play button just for auditioning the item, so we can now hear how the beautiful self, a little time sounds. So that's the columns that you see by default in the log. If you want to take some of those away, then you can right click and you can choose your columns simply by clicking the column chooser, and then you can select which ones you want to see and which ones you don't. So that's totally up to you. Other options that we have here on the top, we have the launcher. So this is similar to the PlayoutONE launcher. And again, depending on which permissions you have will depend on what you can see in here. I have on-air control, so I can hide the on-air controls if I want to. I've got options to select a different station if I want to, so I can see classic hits here. If I had access to more stations, I could actually choose that other station and then navigate to it. We can see the quick keys if we've got on-air control. So if I hit quick keys, they pop open in a floating window that we can then move to another position or another screen. And when we click on these, they'll play in the studio. So that's quite useful. The cache. The cache is the audio we've downloaded so far. So every time you look at an hour, the audio is downloaded in the background. So you can voice track. Now, the cache is cleared every 24 hours, so you don't need to worry about this. However, if things aren't going quite as well as they should be, you can come into the cache manager here, select everything, hit delete, and then get a fresh copy of the audio. Just worth noting. Now, if you have permission, you may be able to see these two reports, the missing copy report and the schedule report. These are quite handy for you if you're perhaps working to schedule the logs and you want to check if there's any missing copy. We can click on the missing copy report. We can hit Get Report, and in the new tab, we are displayed the report. So we actually covered this off in video number 4 when we looked at the log. And again, you see it's the same style of reporting. So that's the missing copy report. And then we have the schedule report here, which gives you a breakdown of each hour that's scheduled. So let's have a look at the 10th, which is today, Sunday. And you can see here, we can see every single hour, the hour duration, if there's any missing audio, which there is in this hour here, the 8 o'clock hour, the expired audio. So we've got a piece of expired audio at 3 a.m., the gap time for each of those hours, and also which marker, in fact, we are looking at for that gap time. So that's quite a useful little report there that you can run away from the station just to make sure everything is looking okay. If we go into the settings here, there's a couple of different settings that we can choose to customize our recording experience. So you've got the option here to start recording the microphone immediately when you're voice tracking. By default, it will take you 4 clicks to record a voice track. The first click will play the end of the item that you are coming out of. Your microphone at that point is muted. Why do we mute the microphone? Well, generally, if you're using WebVT, you're not in the studio, so you may be in a bit of a noisier environment, dogs barking, plates rattling, people laughing outside, fire trucks in my case. I live next door to a fire station, so there's plenty of fire trucks going out. So the mic is muted until you click the button for a second time. A third click plays the next item, and a fourth click will commit the voice track or choose to delete the voice track if you don't like it. You've got the option here to record in stereo if you want to. By default, all voice tracking is done in mono. You can choose to change the log so that instead of the artist and title showing over 2 lines, they show on a single line. Option to show tooltips on or off. If you know everything that WebVT does and they annoy you, then you can turn them off here. And you've got the option here to choose how much of the outgoing song you hear when you start voice tracking. It's default set to 10 seconds. If you want to change that to maybe hear more or less, then you can alter that in here. You've got the option here to change your password if you need to. And then in the audio tab, you've got some further settings we can set. So we can set our default LiveMIC ducking. We'll come on to that when we look at LiveMIC. We can choose to duck automatically when LiveMIC is activated. That's always a good little box to tick if that's how you like it. Now, when you're in Google Chrome, this is how you select your microphone device. So what you'll have to do first is go into one of either LiveMIC or the voice tracker. Then you can access this little section here. You click the box, you choose your audio device. The good news is it will remember those settings next time, but you do need to come in here first just to choose the correct device if you have more than one on your PC. Let's perhaps say you've got a USB mic, but you've also got an onboard microphone on your laptop. You'll need to come in here, select your USB microphone. Final tab is the triple stack. We're going to look at the triple stack in just a second, but in here we can customize how quickly or how slowly it fades each item when we stop it, the gain on the triple stack, and also the duck volume that we want to set the triple stack to when we engage the ducking. More on that coming up very soon. So those are the settings. We're now going to take a look at what the buttons do across the top. So let's click the home button. The home button does exactly as it does in PlayoutONE Pro. takes us back to what's currently playing on the air. The next button, if you have access to it, is the media finder. And within the media finder, we can search for certain things. So let's search for Gaga. And here is Radio Gaga. I was actually searching for Lady Gaga. So let's do Lady instead. There it is, Lady Gaga. No space. Note for next time, Dave. Come on. Okay, so we have our little Lady Gaga song here. I can choose to preview it, and I can now hear Lady Gaga. There it is, Stupid Love. If I want to edit it, I can right-click and choose Edit. And then we can zoom in to see all of Lady Gaga. There she is. We can set the markers as we showed you in video number 2. You can do the same here in WebVT. We can change the title, the artist, with a type, the category, whether it fades or whether it's an oversweep. We can set some notes in here. We can also set the album, the year, kill date, that sort of thing. If you want to record into a cart, you can do. You can just click the microphone button here. We can also download the track if we want to. We can just download the audio. And we also have an option to remove the audio as well if you want to. Now I'm just going to hit play and we can just double click here. Yeah, sounds good. Love this song. I just love this song. The video is great as well. Now let's say we want to insert Lady Gaga into our current log. How do we do that? Well, let's just hit home to take us back to where we currently are. How about Radio Gaga and Lady Gaga next to each other? That's a segue, right? First of all, I'm going to right-click and choose Audio History and make sure we're not playing Lady Gaga anytime soon, which we're not. We're playing Stupid Love at the same time tomorrow, but you know what? I'm a rule breaker. Let's get Lady Gaga on the air. So I'm going to drag her into the log like so, and in she pops. There it is. Lady Gaga now on the air next on Classic Hits. Excellent. Maybe we should have a sweeper between them just to split up the Gaga-ness. So that's how you would insert something into the log. Within here, you've got the search bar, as we previously showed you. We can also filter by the bookmarks that you've set up. You can also filter by category and by type. Or if you want to, you can just search through the pages. Now, if you want to add something into the media finder and you have permission, you can click the plus button here. And then you can select your audio file from the desktop and import that into WebVT. So that's the media finder. Let's go take a look at the Segue editor. So straight away, when you click the Segue editor, you'll be presented with this little box here asking you to select your microphone. This only shows in Firefox, however. That's why I said in Chrome, you've got to go into the settings and select your microphone through there. So let's pretend this is our microphone, this little virtual cable here. And we're going to go and have a look at where we want to do our first voice track. So let's click on Presenter Link here. In pops our audio, so we're going to talk after Billy Idol and into the sweeper. So the way we do this, we're going to hit start recording, and we hear the end of Billy Idol, White Wedding, White Wedding. And then we're going to press the space bar to unmute, or we can click the button ourselves. So there we go. We're now doing our link, blah 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 blah. And then we're ready to start the next item. We hit space bar or click the Fire Next button. There we go. And when we're happy, stop recording. When you are happy and you want to commit it to the log, you can hit confirm. Or if you hit cancel, you can redo it. So I'm going to hit confirm. In pops the voice track from David William Bradley Jones. And right away now, we can start editing our voice track. Now, you're not seeing any waveform here because my microphone isn't actually attached to the PC we're looking at. But we can play with this in the Segue editor and we can move things around. We can audition things, check how things sound. And I think that's good. Now, whilst we're doing that, the audio is uploading back to the server at the station. And when it's all been received, you'll see the following tick appear at the very end of the voice track. That means the station has the audio and everything has been received. Everything's A-OK to go. So make sure you've got ticks on all your voice tracks before you quit your session. Now, if you want to play a bed underneath your voice track, how do you do it? Well, if we open the triple stack here, which is this little button, this little speaker button, in pops what we call the triple stack. It's 3 players that allows us to go and search for some audio. So we can go and select an audio file and we could play that if we wanted to. So we could use Awful, Josh Pan as a bed if we wanted to. Perhaps we've clipped something off the TV. We could load that in as well. Alternatively, in the media finder, if we search for a piece of audio, so I know we've got a bed of some sort here. There it is. Let's choose the, I don't know, let's choose the sports bed, shall we? Let's add that to triple stack. And there it is. It's ready for us to play. So we can hit play. We can have a listen to it. Sounds good. And when we hit stop, it fades out. So you can control the fade on the stop by just going into your settings and changing the fade volumes. So let's record this into our next voice track, shall we? Let's scroll down the log a little bit here. Let's go to here. There it is. Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable two things on the triple stack. The first one is the ducking. So when I want to duck it, I can just hit this duck button here and you can see the volume moving down. Very useful. And the next one is this little fade icon as well here. What this does is it will automatically fade this player when I start the next item, which is going to be the classic hits dry shot. And I'll show you that now. So if I hit start recording, hearing Marvin Gaye, let's get it on in the background. Let's unmute the microphone. Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. So we're going to fire the sports bed. I'm going to just fire it by pressing keyboard number 1. There it is. It's now fired. I'm going to duck the bed so we're not getting drowned out. Haha, there we go. And then when I'm ready to start the next item, watch. I'm going to hit the space bar and you'll see straight away the sports bed start to fade. You ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There it is. Next item started and we can hit stop. And we'll confirm that into the log. So there we go. It's now jumped into the log and it's now uploading back to the radio station. And we should get a little tick in just a second on the very end in the I column, which shows us that it's imported. There it is. Simple as that. So that's how you use the voice tracker. Let's now look at LiveMIC, shall we? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click home. And if you've got on-air control, which we have, we've got this panel at the top here. So we're seeing currently that UB40, Many Rivers to Cross, is playing and it's got 30 seconds left. We can take the system out of auto if we want by just clicking auto, and it's now going to drop into live. And as you can see, the countdown is now flashing out us, telling us it's going to stop. Now, if we want to make it continue, we could actually right-click, and that puts it into a green chain. But for this purpose, I want to keep it on a stop. So the item's going to stop. There it is. Many Rivers to Cross. It's now playing the end of the song. And then when we want to start it again, we just hit the play button and off we go. So you can control the automation now from anywhere you want. If you're on a live remote, you can actually control the automation. You don't need a board up there to play for you and so on and so forth. So that's how you control the automation. But how do we get our voice, our wonderful voice, how do we get that on the air? Well, that is LiveMIC. Now I'm going to click the little LiveMIC button here to open the LiveMIC panel. And here it is. So I'm going to hit connect. And what I'm going to receive now on my headphones is a low latency studio feed. I'm hearing Billy Idol with literally no delay at all. If I click the stream here, I can hear the web feed. So I'm now hearing the web feed. Now that's 30 seconds behind, so we don't want to be monitoring that when we're actually doing our live link. So I'm going to flick back to the stream here. So I'm connected. I can hear my my stream, my studio feed. We've got 1 minute left. I'm going to take us out of auto, so it's going to stop. We're going to put ourselves on a stop. There we go. Oh, I better get rid of my voice track. I don't want to talk into myself. So we take that out. There we go. Now this little button here is your quick key. So if I click these, I can get access to the quick keys. So if I wanted to fire a quick key off or a bed, I could actually do that on the studio side. And then we've got the ducking button here as well. When we engage the ducking, what that does is it actually dips the volume in the studio so we don't get drowned out. We don't have access to faders here on this side because we're just in our pajamas, in our bedrooms or in our living rooms doing these shows remotely. So this is your virtual fader. So when you hit ducking, you can talk over other items without being drowned out. You can also move the volume around as well. You can do that thing called fader. I'm not going to say the word, but you can go up and down and up and down. And when you click off, it resets it back to 0. Finally, you've got your mic. So right now we are, if we hover over this, we're using our cable A as the microphone. Make sure you're set to the right microphone. You can set that in the settings as we discussed earlier on. And when I turn on my mic, it's going to send my microphone to the studio. And then I'm live on the air, everybody. I'm live on the air. So should we do it? I think we should. Here's my quick keys. Let's pretend Elton John's a bed. So we'll use Elton John as a bit of a bed. We'll talk, and then we'll go into the next item, which is going to be the hook next. Here we go. It's fading, so off we go. Billy Idol, White Wedding on Classic Hits. This is Dave Bradley Jones. I've just ducked my microphone. Oh, can you hear that? That's the sound of a fire truck. We are live from my house. We're going to fire Elton John. So there goes Elton John. That's playing a bed, and I can hear that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we want to get rid of Elton John now, so we just click it again, and that fades him off. And coming up next, we're going to play Luther Vandross and the Stylistics on Classic Hits. And we're done. We're out of there. I better turn my mic off. There we are. We're done. So that's how LiveMIC works. How cool is that? I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? It really is fantastic. It's so weird at first that you're actually live from, your living room or your bedroom, but it's wonderful. So that's how LiveMIC works. Really, really cool. We love it. And if you have permission to use it, and you do use it, let us know what you think. Send us a feedback email by emailing support@playoutone.com. Now, finally, you'll see up the top here, there's some other icons. We've got the calendar, which can take us to other parts of the log. We've got the whiteboard here. So as we saw earlier on, we can see the whiteboard. So if there's any live scripts on here, we can see them and read them. We've also got the upload queue here. So this is where the audio goes to when you record your voice track, and you'll see it going across if you're quick enough. If there's stuff stuck in here, then that's not generally right. Try refreshing your browser and see if it clears. If it doesn't, you may need to contact us, support@playoutone.com. We've got a refresh button here for refreshing the log, just in case you want to. And then we have monitor, which gives us the perfect segue to monitor video 7. This is web monitor. So if I click it, it gives us a live view of what's currently wrong at our station. How do I know something's wrong? Well, because the monitor is lit up red. If there wasn't a problem, it would just be a single grey icon. So if we look here, wow, so many problems at our station. 7 problems. Live stream's not running. File copy's not running. PlayoutOne data controller's not running. The list goes on and on and on. So we can also see here that silence has been detected. We can see file, all the stuff. Essentially, this is web monitor. Really, really useful if you're on the road or you're remote from the station. You can check on what the problems are. If we click on log here, we can see when our logs have been scheduled up until. So we're scheduled right the way up until the end of Wednesday. And if we click traffic, we can see how many traffic logs have been scheduled and how many spots are in each hour. Really cool. So this is web monitor. And next, we're going to look at the real monitor. The real monitor. That's video 7. So I'm going to close this tab here. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got any feedback, would love to hear from you. support@playoutone.com. Video 7, which is our final video in this little Getting Started series, is on the way next. So I'll see you on the other side.